But it's also an important moment for South Africans who are living abroad, especially those in the Middle East, because today they have an opportunity to cast their ballots for the national elections. The IEC says it's ready to carry out the polls in 111 missions around the world. Let's get you a sense of how this is faring. Bring in now SABC News correspondent Chris Gilbert, who's live to us from Tokyo in Japan. And Chris, it's still early morning here in Johannesburg, South Africa, but around 4:30 where you are. What's your sense of how the day has fared?
Yeah, so polling hasn't actually begun in Tokyo yet. It is going to be taking place throughout Saturday. So I guess in South African time, it's starting at about midnight tonight, and it's going to continue for about 12 hours after that. This is all taking place in the South African Embassy in downtown Tokyo. Now, Tokyo boasts a small but strong and proud South African diaspora. There are about 1,500 South Africans in Japan, and there are about 250 that have been registered to vote here in Tokyo throughout Saturday. So let's say not the strongest community, not the largest community, but the embassy here has told me that all the preparations have been made, and that even a couple of Springboks might even be in attendance too. So all the more reason for locals to get out and get to their polling station on Saturday.
Look, it's a great incentive, even if it's not about just changing the prospects of the country after the election. You speak about there not being a great or large South African community there, but do we have any numbers, Chris? Roughly speaking, how many people are registered to cast their ballots there?
Well, so 250, look, the wider context is that Japan wants that number to increase. It wants the number of, immigrants or residents from South Africa, from the wider African continent, or even around the world to increase. In fact, it needs it to, because it's facing a massive labor shortfall in the coming years. And, it needs, I think there are about 1.5 million foreign residents currently living in Japan. It needs that number to increase by 50% in the next 5 years, up to by about 800,000 by 2040. Japan needs 8.7 million more foreign residents to fill labor shortages as the population ages, as the birth rate continues to decline, as massive labor shortages and gaps are left. And so every person for Japan counts, and of course every voter counts in the elections as well. And so the embassy is really tuning out, hoping that everyone that has registered turns out to vote tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. The situation in Japan is so vastly different to our conditions here at home. You speak about the declining birth rate. My understanding is that a ministry has actually been put together now to try to respond to that problem. I'm only forecasting my question with this because I wonder if you have a sense of what the issues are for South Africans who are likely to vote tomorrow there, because Japan is so different to the plight of South Africans here at home.
Yeah, I have been speaking to the community, and I have been actually, to be honest, speaking to a number of diasporas, a number of communities, as other elections take place throughout the world, such as that in India. And there's an overarching theme across the board, generally speaking, first of all, that residents here from other countries, including South Africa, want to see conditions improve in their home country so they can come here, get the experience, upskill, and then go home or be incentivized to return home. There has been specific concern in relation to South Africa about the infrastructure around power and energy security, keeping the lights on for their families. The Chamber of Commerce here, the South African Chamber of Commerce in Tokyo, has said that they have also had some frustration at the government's, as they say, global policies. They want to see FTAs, or free trade agreements, between South Africa and Japan locked down faster, and that these are taking too long to really lock in, and are seeing exports from South Africa, such as wine, become more expensive in Japan than it otherwise would need to be. It's seeing, specialties from South Africa, as a food producing nation, such as avocados. There was a green light from Tokyo to begin importing South African avocados last November, and we're just now waiting, or the embassy here is waiting for that to be really locked in to disrupt the monopoly on the importation of avocados here. So these are the kind of issues the Chamber of Commerce wants to see. And across the board, other people want to see that the students who are coming here to study under the Abe program, their master's degrees, those who are coming here under the JET program to teach English, they would also like to see conditions here in Japan as well change and become more accommodating to those throughout the continent, to the social infrastructure, to incentivize them to stay and to contribute towards the community here as well in the future.
Fascinating context. Chris Gilbert, thanks very much indeed for that update.